Right, YouTube. Yes, I didn't really get round to filming prep, and excuse the spotlight of making me look even ghostlier. But as you know, if you know me, or as you can see by the title of this video, I managed to win a few shows, all my class in the shows, and there was bodybuilding, tall and over 90s, so technically the biggest classes. So I'm very, very happy about that. Yeah, I apologise for not getting videos out. It gets to a point for me in prep where you're kind of just getting past each day, albeit for me, this prep was way more enjoyable than any I've done before. A lot easier than any I've done before, but that's not to say it wasn't hard. And there was definitely a couple of weeks, to be honest, from about 3 weeks before that first show, because basically when I took over it, I kind of dug hard. I think I dropped 15 pounds in 14 days, something stupid, right? Because I'm an idiot, but it worked, right? But I was in a bit of, my legs would just not work, and my tiredness was ridiculous, and everything was crazy, right? The whole way I did these shows was completely out of the optimal, okay, which I'll get into in a second. But yes, so as you'll see, we did. A couple of weeks ago, I did the PCA Coventry, of where I took first. I'll put some photos up here. I took first out of four really good guys. One being Tom Hames, and if for those who don't know Tom Hames, he's one of the best coaches in the country. More a coach than a competitor, but he's still 260 pounds on stage, and I was 230 pounds, so he's a big dude. He was absolutely shredded. Obviously coaches himself, but runs stuff past Cal Pro Coach, if you know who that is, Cal Raystrick. You then had, I forgot his name's Ali, but he's coached by Kuba. He was third. And then in fourth, you had Lou, who again, all these lads were massive. And he is coached by Dean, Flex Dean, for anyone who knows that is, as well. And that was, yeah, very, very good. And then the second show, this is the overall trophy. But I decided the night before, the UK BFF Capital Classic. It was an hour and a half away. I saw it the day before. I decided to enter that, albeit a much quieter show. But in the overall, I did beat, I want to say his name was Barry, who was the current under-90s UK BFF British champion. So that was really nice to win as well. But anyway, let's get into it. So I don't want to make this a super long video. It's kind of just covering, showing the photos, kind of going, what's next for me? Because that has definitely changed within the last couple of weeks. So the reason why I wanted to do these shows, if I didn't touch them on the other video, the reason why I picked Sweden all the way in, I want to say September, is because I have had a super bad experience in personally how I perceived it with my previous shows. Yes, I won 4 shows, but I did not enjoy a single one of them. I felt terrible at the time. My environment and what was going on in my life at the time was terrible. I was suicidal for the last 2. I had very bad experiences going on there, to the point, I don't know if I mentioned on here, but my last classic show, I think I drew out a 30 grand loan because I was done with everything. I was like, I'm going to spend it and then I'm going to go away, basically. I was ordering like 200 quid's worth of food every day just to throw it up, just to spend money, because I had 30 grand there. All the way into the show, I was doing things like injecting insulin every day. I was taking still got prep brain. I was taking what are they called? Like Diazide, etc. What is that? A diuretic every day, just because I wanted to almost beat up my body, because I knew I probably wouldn't have the bollocks to do something stupid. But anyway, as you can see, it was very bad. So I picked the Sweden show because I got into bodybuilding when I was 15 and 16. And at home, I used to train 3 times a day at school. At home, I used to have bodybuilders out of magazines on my wall. At uni, I did the same thing. I stuck them at the top of my wall. And ever since those shows, it's just really tarnished how I see, like, it just tarnished my passion. It's really the only passion I had left in terms of sports, because I was very sporty when I was younger. So I wanted to almost have just a bit of a point to prove to myself that I could do these shows. I could get in shape and I could do this whilst enjoying it. And I definitely proved that, which is great. And yeah, just wanted to have a really good time. However, I jumped in these early shows because I was like, look, I don't care about winning. I've said it on here before. I couldn't care less about winning. I don't care about my pro card. I just want to get better. And I wanted to sign off this year by almost not bodybuilding. Like I'm 105 kilos now. And I was going to be like, look, I'm going to get down to 90 kilos. I'm going to not go on cycle again. I'm just going to run TRT. I'm done with it. I'm going to train 3 or 4 times a week, bodybuilding-esque. But I don't know, I might add something in the mix. Just focus a lot more on coaching. Anyway, but yeah, the shows went really fucking well. I think to go through the first one, I was about 10 days away and I was lean. I was probably my lightest weight, but I turned around to Em and I said, if I don't start eating now and I keep trying to diet, I'm not going to make it because I know how my head is. And I was like, I'm so close, but I have a very self-sabotage head. So even if I was a day away, my brain will be telling me to fuck it. Anyway, ultimately, I started eating about 10 days out and I was just getting leaner and I wasn't getting full at all. And I was eating quite a bit more than I was dieting on. So it ended up being, I can't remember the exact days, but it ended up being, I pretty much ate for 8 days straight, like more carbs. I knew my weight in the evening, and if I was lower than what I'd been and knew how much I'd wake up at, I'd eat another meal. And through that, I took out cardio, I took out clean, and through more food, I was getting bigger and tighter because I was just removing that fatigue element. And then 2 days out, I was like, right, I need to start filling up. I also used orals for that week, so I stopped injecting about 10 days out. I used Winstrol and I used Superdrol. I then upped the Superdrol the kind of day of the show and the day before the show, and that was it. And yeah, on the day of the show, because I had so much food the day before and I looked wicked, I'll put photos here if I can find them. I thought, I couldn't believe how much I'd changed in like 24 hours. The night before the show, I was like, what the fuck, right? I had the Diazide, so a quarter Diazide, and then I had a quarter Diazide about 9 hours later, which is the diuretic. And yeah, it just came together, and I was twice the size I was the whole 3 weeks before. And yeah, the look was really good. I needed to be leaner, so for you, those of you who don't know, you might look at my shots and be like, oh, it looks pretty shredded. I've probably got another 10 pounds of body fat to take off. Like, I'm just lucky that muscle in certain areas is big enough to show it off that it looks leaner than it is. So ultimately, that was really, really good. I don't think there was anything too much out of the norm there. Like I say, I would take 10 Superdrol, and then the days before might do 30 to 40, which is quite a high amount. The Winstrol was just 100 for the week, had been 50 for the week before that. And then going into the second show, so the idea was that I would train like normal because I had the Grays, which is actually tomorrow, which would have been the following week, tomorrow, right, when I'm making this video. But then I saw that show. So I ended up, again, used Superdrol literally that day before because I hadn't been using it. I hadn't been using Winstrol either. I just took the Superdrol along with 1,500 grams of carbs because I need to fill up. I'm going to eat as much as I can. If it fucks up, it fucks up, which is the beauty of coaching yourself. And yeah, it kind of worked. I would say I preferred my look a little bit at the PCA one, but considering it was the day before that I won the overall, I won my class, I won the overall, I took home 500 quid, a custom strength shop belt, which they're sending me, which is cool. I've got the check on the wall, and I got a hell of a lot of supplements as well. I'm going to probably use future videos to talk about, I'm going to do an Instagram as well, just talking about the whole, I think social media puts a lot of you guys off competing unless you're 100% peeled and you feel 100%. But there is an element of me, mate. I just wanted to fucking enjoy it and enjoy bodybuilding. Like you'd go and enjoy football, you might play your mate's pub team, or you might do Sunday league, and you've got the different leagues. In bodybuilding, we don't have that. But I feel like people convince themselves that I'm not, because all these top guys are going, oh yeah, you got to do this optimal and you can't binge. And yeah, okay, hold yourself to the highest standard. And this was the first year I didn't binge or anything like that, which is great. But you can compete when you want and you can enjoy it. It is a stepping stone. But yeah, 2 wins, 2 class wins. I then decided to not do grades. We are still going to Sweden because I want to go to Sweden. I want to go and see Gasp. I want to go and see the show. I want to go and I think it'll be wicked. Again, I love bodybuilding. But apart from that, if you have any questions, comment below or just message me on the specifics of drugs or how I peaked. I will be doing more content on that. I just wanted to do a little roundup video of how I felt. And ultimately, yes, I need to be leaner. I need to be a lot leaner in terms of future shows, which I'll get into in a second. But yeah, I was super happy. I'm looking at those photos, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to the fact that if you see a photo and sometimes you just go, oh, I just want to look like a bodybuilder. And I look at them and I'm like, oh, I look like a bodybuilder. I'm glad I've got those photos. And for those that didn't see, I'll try and put it here. I need to put it on here. The photo of me, Colby and Em, that can't be beaten. So I'm not doing greys because I'm not doing Sweden. I also don't like two bros. They're money grabbing cunts. I really don't like their shows. I wouldn't even say it's a bad experience, but compared to the others, like where you're looked after and it's like a day, it's like an experience. This one's like they give you a second, you pay 200 and something quid for the tan and the entry. They give you 2 seconds, they don't give a shit, your feedback shit, it's just shit. So yeah, that's me done for the season, albeit a very short season, but I've learned so much because obviously when I did these shows and coached myself at the end, I learned so much through just learning stuff, which is going to help me with clients and my own stuff. And just very exciting. It has ultimately led me to love bodybuilding again. The passion I've got for it that will translate into my work and my day to day. Like there's so much coaching stuff I want to do. I'll get into a second what I'm doing next. But ultimately, yeah, the amount of the different content pieces, I want to get into the journalistic side once I'm done competing as well. So for me, it's almost like my football, which is great. But anyway, the fun stuff of what's coming next. Now, originally, like I said, I was going to stop. Now, when I say stop, I don't mean I would stop the gym. I was planning on taking a month or 2 off. Genuinely, I haven't stopped in 8 years, right? But the whole idea was to not chase bodybuilding anymore. And that was cool. Was very content with that. Was looking forward to that. Knew it would be hard. Of course, it's going to be hard. It's like when anyone stops a sport. And luckily, I've got the most supportive wife in the world, which is amazing. But a few things were said by the head judge at UKBFF, by Tom Hames on a podcast who I went against, saying I'm one super heavy off season away from being that guy that people will turn up to every show and go, oh, for fuck's sake. And like, realistically for me, for anyone that's followed it, they know that I took kind of 4 months off on TRT last year to obviously conceive Colby, which was amazing. But I didn't really make any progress in that year. Hilly kind of allowed me to get back the muscle that I had rather than make new muscle. I probably did a little bit, but based on my body weight and the look, I compared them to last year's photos, pretty much the same look, right? I also think that, again, for those that have followed me long enough, I've had previous coaches, and although it's been amazing because it's bodybuilding, I just think my own methods are quite a bit different to what I've done with previous coaches, which I personally, thinking about it now, do feel like I've lost. I left quite a lot of progress on the table, just based on how phases were done. I definitely got too fat in 2 of the high phases, in bulk phases. The drugs, low test, high mast, which is a safe route, which is good. I'm not saying I'm not going to be safe, but testosterone's your main base. And I'm 9 weeks into my prep cycle, first time having tests quite high, and I'm just starting to get it now where I look like I'm doubling in size. So give or take. But anyway, Em turned around to me and was like, I don't think you're done, along those lines. So what I've decided, and this is basically doing it with her because, like I say, she's the most supportive wife ever, is I'm taking it, I'd say week by week, but let's say month by month. My idea is a rebound, not a reverse. A lot of people will argue you can't build muscle in this phase. I believe you can build the most amount of muscle in this phase. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try not to get too fat, but my food's going to be high. Performance is going to be through the roof. My training has been completely changed. I want to bring up my back. I want like the most, because I think everything else just needs to come up, but I just feel like my back, it looks good, but it just lets me down because compared to people who have genetically a good back. So there's that. So there's going to be a lot of focus there. A lot of one set stuff at the moment, heavier stuff, some lighter stuff. But again, I'm not doing what I've been doing for the last 6 months, which is that higher volume. I do think it has a place, but for me, it's just more an enjoyment aspect out of anything. I haven't enjoyed it. Like I don't enjoy it after a while. I get quite bored. So there is that. So I'm going to rebound. Then I'm going to bring down food, tidy up in terms of bring out all the cycle out. And if anyone wants to know, I'll go through the dosages because it's going to sound high to you lot, but this would be the most off season I've run. Again, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that much, but I'm going to run 1,050 test, 600 primo that I've never used before, 600 EQ, and that is it. So what's that, a 2-2? I think that's a 2-2 total, which is the most I've used, and we'll see how that goes. And then I will go into my off season cycle for 4 or 5 months. And that's it. This rebound in that off season, we're going to see how big we can get. Albeit I'm quite wary at the moment that when Hilly brought Retta in, it was for blood sugar, and the way I'm holding water, albeit I haven't trained really in 3 weeks, which is crazy. The way I hold water in my face, you can probably see it now, like I'm only a couple of kilos up, but and the way I kind of get really energyless during the day sometimes, I do think there is a blood sugar element that I need to sort out, which will inhibit my off season if I don't. And in my head, it makes me think, look, I've been 128 kilos for those that don't know. I'm on stage at 102. That's 26 kilos. I don't want to lose 26 kilos to get on stage. I must have just been fat without realising it. And that was when I was coached by Corey or whatever. Like, it was just fat. There must have been so much fat there. Like, I've been above 123 times. And yeah, I mean, I'm like 10 kilos of stage weight up for 3 years, but I believe there's more. So we're going to try that. But anyway, that's the plans going forward. The idea will then be, yeah, look to diet and compete next year, I suppose, but that's in the back of my mind. But yeah, I just thought I'd do this video on one of the shows. A little bit of spill. You might be like, oh my God, the cycles, oh my God, the stuff. One thing, if you want to ask me, I'm going to do this in future videos. Peptides completely changed the game. I don't give a shit when anyone goes, peptides this, you should diet, you're a bodybuilder. Mate, the Retta on 0.5 a week, which is nothing, game changing. Blood sugar wise, appetite wise, game changing. Moxie energy, even though I felt fucked compared to previous preps, game changing. SLUPP, mimics exercise, made body weight fall off, made it feel effortless. So I do think they're game changing. But anyway, I believe the next few videos I'll go through, I'll get through more into my off season. I know I'm wearing a vest now, but the idea is I want to go a bit Batmanish with it and cover up and then just get massive. But you'll see it in my face. My face will go. But yeah, YouTube. See you in the next episode.